What's going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. We're doing some more Sphero content today, and I am finally sorting out the front brakes in this thing. So a while ago, you guys will remember that somehow we managed to end up with two passenger side R33 big brake calipers, which I still have that one on there. And I somehow managed to end up with two R32 driver's side calipers, and the two rotors that I have are R33. So I was trying to find a driver's side brake rotor, which I actually ended up finding a complete front set off a guy up north. So the main point in this video is I want to get those calipers onto this car, but there's a couple things that we need to do first. So they actually look like they're in pretty good condition, but just for the hell of it, I'm going to rebuild these calipers because I have rebuilt two pots before, so the rear big brake calipers, but I've never rebuilt four pots. It's pretty much the same thing. I think getting the pistons out is going to be a bit more of a juggle, but no, up for the challenge. Plan of attack is going to be to get all the pistons out, all the seals out, and then I'm going to go over the caliper with some Scotch-Brite. We'll primer the caliper and then we'll paint it. I'm probably just going to paint it black again. I don't want it to stick out too much, and then I'll go through and I'll file all the Nissan off so you can still see the Nissan logo. When I picked these calipers up, they didn't come with the pins and all this assembly here to actually hold the brake pads in. But luckily there's a local guy down here that does all that kind of stuff, so I've actually ordered it. Hopefully should be able to pick it up either later tonight, if not tomorrow morning. I'm actually picking up the seal rebuild kit tomorrow morning as well. So tonight, yeah, gonna strip these down, clean them up, paint them, and then tomorrow we'll put them back together and then get them on the Sphero. So first off, I think we will start on this caliper. So our first mission is going to be getting the pistons out of this. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna take our compressor, which I have turned it on. It's got pressure. Basically, all we're gonna do is just put that little nozzle into where the banjo bolt goes for the brake line, and that should press the pistons out. Hopefully this goes all right. I noticed when I did the two pots, I had trouble where one piston would pop out, and then I couldn't get the other one out. Then I put the one that popped out back in, and then the one that wouldn't come out then would pop out. And that was only with two pistons. Now we've got four. Yeah, this might be bit more of a juggling act. Actually, before we go taking these pistons out, I just got to quickly take these outer seals off, which are super easy. They usually got this kind of springy thing to hold it against it. Yeah, it's just coming off super easy. Now we've got our seals out, we can use that air compressor to hopefully blow these pistons out. All right, so we had one piston blowout, which is not kind of what we want. You have to try and get that back in there. Try and keep it in just enough so we can pop all the rest of the ones out, because I think the rest of the ones might be a little bit more seized in there. I have no idea how long ago these brakes were used. So that is, both these sides have popped out now, so now we just got to try and get these two out. Boom! Two at once. That's a little trick. So to hold these two pistons in, I didn't have two of these, and I didn't really have anything to go across it to sort of brace it. So I had like this little bracket which was bent in a couple spaces, flattened it out, pressed it against the pistons like that, and just used that to hold it down. We have all four pistons, this caliper, now outies. Didn't do any damage on the pistons themselves, so we're good on that. This caliper is pretty much ready to be painted, but before we start prepping that, I'm just gonna pull the pistons and stuff out of this one. Managed to get the other caliper all stripped down and apart now, which is good. Figured out a little trick. With that one, I only ever blew that compressed air through the banjo bolt hole there. But what I've realized is, because obviously there's chambers for the liquid to get all around the caliper, I'd be able to get these two out, you know, reasonably easily, and then these two would be stuck in. There's no point in blowing the air in through there because it literally just goes right out there. So what I realized that I can do is if I aim the nozzle into there and grab the torch so you guys can see it. You can see that little hole where the fluid, you can, yeah, sort of see the holes where the fluid goes through. So what I ended up doing was just putting the nozzle into one of those holes. So say I wanted to get that one out, I put the nozzle up to that hole, it would blow the air around and pop that one right out. We're already taking that inner seal out, and we just got to take that one. Yep. So a bit of time's passed. I actually just finished up doing the live, which came out last night. So if you guys were a part of that, cheers for joining in. It was cool. Got my caliper all up, ready to be painted. It's all masked off, where the banjo bolt goes in, and up here where the bleeder goes. So this one is all ready to get a coat of primer laid down. This is all I have left, so I actually think I'm probably only going to be able to do one caliper tonight. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I set these lights up just to get some heat going, because it's not a cold night, but it's not warm either. As you can see, it's dark outside now. So yeah, just turn these lights on so it gets a bit of heat, so it just dries a bit faster. Alright, it's the next day on now. I got one caliper primered up last night before I ran out of primer to do the second one. I did a little mist over it, but yeah, then I completely ran out. This morning, we are on a bit of a mission. Got quite a bit of running around to do. First stop, I'm gonna go and get the old lady's car because I'm actually going to Tobin's tonight. Mine's got no warrant, and I don't like driving it that far over the other side of town with no warrant because I can't afford the fine. Then I'm gonna go see Ashton at Thrash Garage so I can pick up those brake pad clips, pins, all that stuff. Then I'm gonna go pick up the brake rebuild kit. Then on the way home, we'll stop and get some primer so we can finish these calipers and get them done. Woo-wee! Fancy. Actually, who was it the other day that was commenting on my live about Mazda 3s and stuff? Here we are, boys. Made it back home now, and unfortunately, my trip out didn't go quite as planned. Made my first stop at Thrash Garage, saw Ashton, and picked up all the brake clips, pins, everything that I need. Got them all laid out here, which is awesome. So we got these two pins here. Well, these are the 4 pins. I don't know what the technical term for these would be. But then we also got a couple of these. So each caliper takes one each of those, and then 2 of the pins, and boom, that's it. Genuineness and parts, boys. If you guys are ever in need of parts, whether it be small things like this that you never think of, that you'd think would be a nightmare to find, to things like suspension, arms, seats, steering wheels, you name it, Ashton does it. I'll chuck the link in the description below, so go check it out. My next stop, unfortunately, is where things started to go downhill. So yesterday I called Safe Harbor Brakes here in Christchurch, and I ordered 2 rebuild kits, well, 1 for each caliper for the front, and I was told that it was going to be here this morning about 9 o'clock. I showed up there at about 10:30, 11, and it still hadn't got there, so unfortunately there's been a bit of a delay with the courier, which means we're not going to be able to get these brakes rebuilt today and in this video, unfortunately, because tonight I want to get this video up. I'm actually filming this right now, the same day that it goes up, so I don't have much time left, and I don't think the rebuild kits are going to be here until at least this afternoon, if not tomorrow. But in saying that, I did go and pick up some more etch primer so we can finish off primering this other caliper. You can see I sort of started to miss on a little bit. This one's pretty much done. We'll just turn on my paint booth. How good. Alright, my calipers are just about ready to be painted now. Put like 4 or 5 coats of primer over both of them, because unfortunately they both weren't in the greatest condition. At some stage it looks like they might have started corroding. Alloy doesn't rust, but it can still corrode, especially when you get brake fluid on it, because brake fluid is so bad for metal. So yeah, I think these were somewhat scuffed up in the past and just quickly painted over. When I scotch bonded them back yesterday, I could point out a lot of the pitting and stuff in this, so yeah, I just decided to go a few extra coats with primer just to try and make them fill out a bit and look a bit smoother. But yeah, no, they're pretty much dry. I've been using this, alternating it between sides, and it's drying them pretty well. Didn't end up getting any more paint because I forgot that I actually have pretty much this full can of black, and it should be enough to paint a couple coats on both of the calipers. Just done our first coat, just went over and gave it a light mist coat. So now right away, I'm gonna lay down our first heavy coat of paint. And these should start to look real good. Ended up laying down a solid coat of paint over both of the calipers, and unfortunately I only had a really tiny amount after that, and obviously I wanted to give it probably a couple more decent coats, so I went back to Super Cheap and brought some more paint. Should have done it the first time, but oh well. And this time around I actually got some proper caliper paint, so I laid down 2 heavy coats of this plus the heavy coat of the other stuff and the mist coat. So it's got plenty of primer, plenty of paint, and it's worked pretty well. I don't know how well the camera can pick it up, but if, there was a lot of pitting along here. You can still see it more here. Again, I'm not sure how well the camera's gonna pick it up. There's a bit more there. But putting so many coats of primer and paint on has really filled up everything, and the calipers are looking pretty good, and I'm super happy with how they've come out. Unfortunately, I think this video might be a bit short, but I'm probably gonna have to wrap it up for here. There's not really much else I can do today. Calipers are still slightly damp, so I don't really wanna go manhandling them and file off the Nissan. Just gonna file the Nissan here to get rid of the paint so the alloy is exposed so you can still see the Nissan. But yeah, like I said, I'll do that another day once the calipers are all dried. I've actually still got to go and edit all of the footage that I've got today so this video can go up tonight, which I gotta quickly do because I'm also supposed to be going to Tobin's in a couple of hours. Anyway, you know the deal guys, like, comment, subscribe. Cheers for watching, and I'll catch you tomorrow.